Welcome to the Purpose Chasers podcast, where those who refuse to let odds or naysayers stand in their way come to chase and catch their true calling. I'm your host, Mark Crandall. In each episode, we shine a spotlight on artists and musicians who dare to dream bigger. You'll hear the real-world tactical moves these Purpose Chasers have taken to carve out their legacies, and I'll break down the marketing strategies you can swipe and implement today. Let's dive in and start chasing our purpose. Don't forget to leave a follow on Spotify or wherever you stream from. Let's dive into this episode. Everybody, welcome back to the Purpose Chasers podcast. This is a run back, as I'm going to touch back on an earlier episode. I don't actually know the name of the episode. The first time Carolyn was on the Purpose Chasers podcast was episode 17, in which she was talking about doing all the things that she has accomplished in this current episode of the Purpose Chasers podcast. Carolyn, I want to start this Purpose Chasers interview by the aspect of you that is the most inspiring to me. Although you were a previous UN delegate, you have spoken on some of the largest stages known to man, including a couple times of doing TEDx talks, multiple media trips on major news outlets. That stuff is great and very impressive, and I love you in that way. But the piece of you that most intrigues me is the work that you're doing with adolescents. So not only are you the most fierce entrepreneur I know and one of the most passionate speakers I've ever shared the stage with, your passion for youth and the work that you've done with Acton Midwest is just so inspiring to me. And hearing you talk about the work that you've done around the adolescent entrepreneurial fair that you're doing, it's, and I know I misquoted the term of what it is, but I view it as this entrepreneurial fair, and I've never been to one. But hearing you describe it to me yesterday, I was like, we need to record this episode and dive into it. Carolyn, so great to have you here.
Thanks for having me, Mark. I'm excited to share. And yes, it's been quite the journey, and a beautiful journey, and being able to pay it forward has been an absolute blessing.
So we've done an episode with you before on Purpose Chasers where you shared and you talked, and it's going to be a great reference for you to look back on when we quote it inside of this release, because you were so young. And if you were to watch it back to where you are now, you were dreaming of being most of the places that you are. And I do believe that you were even talking about possible UN position or doing something in the UN to be a voice in that episode. To fast track now to you have accomplished many, if not all, of the milestones that you wanted to in your career. What led you to want to add just one more thing on? Because it's not as if you don't have children. What led you to want to start a school and then engulf yourself in what is, you told me yesterday, was 150 little ones?
Yes. So yes, to date, now we're 5 years in, the Acton Children's Business Fair that I have brought to my community for the first time has served over 150 little entrepreneurs ages 6 to 14. And what they're doing is they're creating, it's kind of like a mini Shark Tank almost. They're creating their own products that they make. So their parents cannot make these things. It's not a midnight science project where the parents are staying up all night trying to get it done. No. These kiddos, ages 6 to 14, are coming up with a vision. They're coming up with an idea, and they're creating a little business plan, and they are being able to receive feedback from the community on their business. So what it is, it's a one-day fair where kiddos create their ideas, creativity, business. They sell their products, and then we invite the community to come in, and it takes a village to raise a child, and be able to witness their creativity, purchase from them, ask them what they're doing, how they're doing it, and what do they plan to do with their revenue. And it's so neat to see. They're so excited that, and then sharing, what did they learn? What's the biggest thing that they're learning? And with that, the beauty of seeing the community come in. You know, when you think about a business fair or a fair, a lot of times people would come in and they're like, oh yeah, what are you trying to sell? But then this is magical. The demeanor of people that walk into this fair with kids so excited to show off what they've made and explain what they've made, how they made it, how they got it right, how they got it wrong. And then what are they learning? How are they going to spend said earnings? And also, how are they going to give back to their community is absolutely magical. The other really neat thing with this children's business fair is that not everyone gets an award. So we have awards. There are 3 of them, and not everybody gets an award. And the opportunity for parents and kiddos to reflect on, how does that feel? They got an award, I did not get an award. And then helping support them to process through, what am I learning? And who am I choosing to become in this moment? We're giving that opportunity for kids to be able to reflect, learn, and grow, and figure out, you know, okay, I am disappointed. Speak it out. And then use your tools, your village, what you've learned in which to pick yourself back up. And what am I going to do different next time? So those are the things that that's beauty within this magical experience. And now we're in the 5th year of providing this fair. It's every year in April in Financial Literacy Month, because kids are also learning with collaboration of Junior Achievement, the local YMCA and Boys and Girls Club, in which to be able to tap into community partnerships in order to support these little entrepreneurs, to help them get excited about creativity, about innovation, about entrepreneurialism, either as a side hustle, as a primary hustle. Some kids now, they have online businesses because they participated every single year. And it's a direct funnel for them to be able to go into high school fairs, STEM learning, STEM opportunities. And then from there, they're able then to collaborate with, maybe they want to go into the trades. Maybe they want to go and understand what they might want to go to college for, or maybe not. Or maybe they're looking to see, and they're not afraid to ask to get an apprenticeship. So as we're offering them the opportunity to explore, learn, grow, and learn, and find out what they are learning on this journey, it gives them the tools and the resources and the ability to be able to ask questions and have more confidence in their creativity and what it is of the ideas that they have.
I mean, I if you're not inspired by that, you might be asleep or dead. It's just, it's so profound for me, this whole adolescent entrepreneurial path mindset. You know, it really changed for me when I was first introduced to Acton, and then I had the privilege to interview Laura, one of the original founders, and it was just the philosophy of Acton went up against everything I was ever taught and everything I experienced in school. And I was diagnosed with ADHD and all these different diagnoses, which if you were to diagnose me today, you would say, no, he's just an entrepreneur that wants to cut a lot of red tape. He just wants to step into squares where people tell him not to, just to see why. Mm-hmm. Right. And I think the philosophy around the nurturement, like the nurturing of each individual child's learning path and creativity and curiosity is just so inspiring to me. Can you talk about that as it relates to the Acton that you built and this little entrepreneurial community network you're growing?
Yes. So yes. So the Acton Children's Business Fair is a taste of what to experience in the one-room schoolhouse, which is the actual school. And so we have a summer camp, and then we also have year-long school. And it's a one-room schoolhouse type of structure, meaning that younger kiddos can learn from older kiddos, and it's learner driven. So then therefore, let's say it was little Mark, and Mark was very excited about learning science and math. However, maybe you experienced that because you're in third grade, you need to learn exactly the same as everyone else in third grade. So you can't go up levels because you're the same age and you're in third grade. However, in this learning model, let's say you're in third grade, you're very excited about science and math. We're going to allow you to continue to learn to the highest of your ability while also being able to teach it back. Because yes, you can take in information, but actually processing it and actually learning it so that you can teach it back to others is the place in which to be able to master the skill. So then therefore, our learners are learner driven, meaning you're able to learn in the way that suits you best, and you're able then to go up levels, or some might understand it to be grades, depending on where your strong suit might be. So you may excel in math and science. However, you might need to work a little bit harder on handwriting. And yes, we do handwriting. And so with that, whatever areas that you want to or need to excel and work on is the area that we work with you on. Along with, we have amazing, really, I would say, dynamic ways to communicate. So we have something called the conflict peace table. So let's say you're a 6-year-old learner and you're out on the playground playing sharks and minnows, and you've made the rules together that you can't focus on one person when you're playing sharks and minnows. However, that rule was broken and somebody focused on catching you in sharks and minnows, and you're upset. Now, you can choose to be upset and not play in the game, or you can choose to maybe get back at that person. And as a 6-year-old, you have all these different options, right? Well, we also have a peace table where you work it out. I was upset because you focused and you focused in on me during sharks and minnows. Well, I was upset because you wiped your boogers on me during lunchtime. Okay. You work it out. You talk it through, and you talk about what happens when you're upset and be able to work through conflict. We also practice saying, I'm sorry. And I hear you. I heard that you're upset because I targeted you during sharks and minnows. Yes, that is why I'm upset with you. What can I do better? Well, you could not target me in sharks and minnows. Okay, I will try not to do that. However, I'm trying, so I might not be perfect at it. Okay, let's go. And so helping kids really get through conflict, talk through it, and then have responsibility for it.
It's an excellent couple points that you've made. One, there are no participation trophies in life. I went through this with Mark recently. He wanted to play Little League, found out after 2 games it was hot at night and he didn't want to play, but he wanted a trophy. And so I got to talk to him about, like, people who get trophies, they follow through to the end. No one gets a trophy if they quit before the end. And you have to work hard to get a trophy. And so the league didn't do any trophying, but he finished the season and he was the best hitter on the team. So I bought him a trophy and got him one and said, you finished the season, man, you get a trophy. I love that point. And I also love the conflict resolution of teaching youth young to advocate for themselves. It's really, really, youth are suppressed and so are adults, but we don't need to get into that. And I love the atmosphere and the environment of allowing them to communicate what's there for them to figure it out. Carolyn, I want to make a transition here. There's this huge correlation for me that is taking place as I've been working with Produced by Neff for, some months now, in really learning the ins and outs of the hip hop community and knowing the jam band community, as I've built a number of relationships and gotten to know a lot of entrepreneurs. There is a huge, huge correlation between music and entrepreneurship. And I'm really trying to work. We don't need to go into that right now. I just want to call that out. And And I'm really seeing that in my sons as they really, really go deep into one genre of music and really listen to it. And you see their artistic side start to express itself in different ways as they listen to different music. I guess I wanted to ask you that. I'm going to ask you that question. I want to know this. This is my learning. What level of participation does music, dance play inside of the school? And do you notice a correlation between youth that are excelling, that are listening to more music, than youth that are maybe having more behavioral outbursts at school?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I appreciate that you brought that up, because yes, music is an integral part of the day. We start out with music as learners come into the school. So right away, how are we setting the tone and the atmosphere for learning, and the connection of music to being present, to being able to focus, to being able to tap into your own creativity and innovation. And each learner has a genre that they maybe gravitate more to, and being able to have that opportunity to explore music in a way for them to be able to also have a new avenue for communication, for emotion, for connection, for coming together in community. And so, yes, music is an integral part of learning, and also a part of emotional regulation, and being able to then also connect to how learning is being done in the way that we're moving forward in connecting learning to communication overall.
And I want to tie, I didn't know I was going to tie this in. We're going in a new direction, but speaking of music and the work that you do, you've set up a nonprofit, which I'm extremely, extremely passionate about, which is also one of the main points of the Purpose Chasers, is to lift up, individuals or organizations in the community that are doing good work. And what you're doing, how did it lead to a nonprofit, one? And how did you get a song written about you?
Yeah. That's quite the journey. And what's interesting is, on this beautiful human journey, it's not necessarily, how things are going to happen, as long as you stay well connected with your why. And that's a continuous thing. This is getting present, taking a deep breath, journaling, and really staying connected with your why. And for me, the amount of trauma that I've experienced in my short lifetime, I needed a way to be able to make sense of the darkness. And so in order to be able to make sense of the darkness, I did a lot of coping mechanisms, such as perfectionism and overachieving, which both of those things I am in permanent recovery. And also, the way that I've really been able to deal with my trauma is to be able to add light to the darkness. And through adding light to the darkness is through paying it forward, so that other people that are coming through the fire don't have to walk alone. And with that, for years, I have been supporting others who, just like me, knew that there had to be something more out there, just didn't know what it was. And then providing the opportunity to have access to doors that you might not have known were there, to be able to walk through. And then having somebody to grab your hand and say, yes, come through this door with me. It's okay. Doing that work for many years, I have, on my own dime, I had a very wise mentor say to me, hey, what you've been doing is a nonprofit. Let's work together and let's submit in order to make this a nonprofit. And with that, thanks to mentors, I was able to create a nonprofit that serves humans to create generational self-sufficiency through education, access, and community. And through that, we're on a journey to be able to smash systematic poverty. and passionately continued to do so. And with that, we have Children's Business Fair to be able to help children become creative and innovative and ask more questions through entrepreneurialism. To date, we have served 65 side hustles and primary hustles in which to help women elevate off of systems and be able to, get out of that stuck place of borrowing from Peter to pay Paul at the end of the day, even though you're working full time and you still can't buy milk. What can you do? You can create a side hustle. You can work on to become a primary hustle, and then continue to build in which to further create freedom for yourself. And so with that journey, it's been an amazing journey, and I've been able to meet phenomenal humans, and like, for example, you. It's been a beautiful journey to be able to meet you through this work, and meet people that have a passion for taking what happened to them to happen for them and pay it forward with a fire. And
you don't just meet people. I'm gonna stop you here. You don't just meet people. You give and give and give and give and give and give and give, and that, like the work that you're doing in the community and the work that you're doing all over through your giving, led to what I think is one of the most profound things that could happen to a human, which was a song was written about you and the work that you're doing inside of the Fierce Foundation and through the Fierce Network. And that really inspired me when you shared that with me, and then you sent the song over, and I looked at the lyrics, and I mean, I've known you for a number of years and seen the work that you do, and it is very powerful to me. Can you speak in closing on this episode around this song, the movement, and what you see coming forward for the Fierce Network and the Fierce Foundation?
Yes. So this song definitely brought me to tears. And this human that I met, his name is Dan Kuba. He and I sat down and I shared my journey on my very short lifetime of the things that I have endured and overcome. And with that, Dan was inspired to write a song with the purpose of being able to inspire others and share. And he is a very talented, big-hearted human, and I was so honored that he chose to write a song for and about me to help others pay it forward. And with that, building a Fierce Foundation, continuing, and Fierce Network in which to provide resources and tools for people to be able to elevate off of systems, and Fierce Foundation in which to continue to break systems, create generational self-sufficiency through education, access, and community. We will continue to elevate lives, impact futures, and create freedom.
Carolyn, it was so awesome to have you on the Purpose Chasers to discuss your little the kiddos, man. I just like having two boys right now, and we just got them enrolled. We're quite a distance away from an Acton, so we can't have an Acton, but we found a school that is very, very similar in philosophy. And, it's also a lot of money. And my kids, I have 18 years with them, right? Like in my home. And I will give everything and anything I have, mentally, physically, or financially, to ensure that they go out in the world ready to rip it up. And I'm just so grateful for the work that you're doing with little ones, and just look forward to getting to connect with you and having you back on to see what this has grown into.
I'm honored to be here. Thank you for having me, and let's rip it up.
That's a wrap on this episode of the Purpose Chasers podcast. If you're ready to take action, don't wait. Head over to thepurposechasers.com to access notes, resources, and a host of other tools to keep you moving forward. And if you want to supercharge your digital presence, visit scaletosaleconsulting.com to partner up with my team and amplify your impact. Let's turn your purpose into your biggest asset. Until next time, keep chasing, keep creating. Your purpose awaits.